But MVP, who do you think, who do you like that's not named Trey Lance as a potential MVP pick going into the season?
I almost picked Trey Lance to win MVP just to spite you, Charles. I picked Lamar Jackson. It's easy to pick Josh Allen. And look, if the odds, look, a lot of these times when I pick, I do have the odds in mind because, we don't want to be boring, right? I could pick Josh Allen to win MVP and all the favorites and all that, but that's boring. So I took Lamar Jackson. I just think that we're sleeping on Lamar. Like, we've just forgotten that this guy is unbelievable football player. He's going to be in a much better situation with a Ravens team that should be a lot healthier this year. I think they win the division. I think they're a Super Bowl contender. And Lamar Jackson, in a quote-unquote down year last year, was on pace for 4,400 passing yards and 1,150 rushing yards. If that's the worst we're getting out of Lamar Jackson, he's going to be in the MVP race every year. And we forget, he's 25 still. So he's ascending physically. Has this the contract thing could be a distraction. It also could be one of those Aaron Judge type of things where you're like, I'm going to show you, I'm going to go out and win an MVP and you're going to pay me. So I think everything lines up for Lamar. He's my MVP pick. If all the odds were equal, I'd probably pick Josh Allen, but whatever. That's boring. What fun is that? So who do you got?
I picked Justin Herbert when I made my picks previously. I like the AFC West producing the MVP, and I like it to be a quarterback. I think it's going to be one of those four guys, and I think any one of those four guys potentially could do it. I like
even Derek, huh?
Even Derek. I think. Yeah. I think that
I can see the path. Sure.
If the Raiders had, great, the Raiders go 13-4, right? And that, to me, there's no quarterback who wins that division who doesn't put up big numbers. I think whatever team, whether it's the Chargers, which is part of why I picked Herbert, because I looked at the line, I looked at the skill positions, I thought, and then I looked at the kid's ascension every single season, and I'm like, this just lines up. This should, this feels like the season where he takes that big leap, sort of like I felt like last season. Oh, this is Josh Allen's big MVP year leap. I also like Russ, though. You get Russell Wilson's line. Again, you look at the skill positions. Granted, he loses Patrick in the preseason. But overall, I think the surrounding pieces are good enough that he could put up huge numbers, bigger numbers than any numbers he's ever put up in Seattle. And I would say if the Broncos win the AFC West, Russ puts up huge numbers. Guess what? He's going to get MVP votes. Whereas I look at Carr and I look at Mahomes, and it's almost like you said with Lamar Jackson. I think Mahomes manages a Mahomes-like season, and last year I kind of felt like it was 50-50. Like he half of the season it felt like Mahomes, the other half felt like he was forcing things. If he can put together any other season in his career where it's a complete 17 games or whatever, and the typical numbers that we're used to with him, I'm going to look at those surrounding players and be like, holy shit, how did he do that? Like, this is no
Tyreek.
It's the Lamar Jackson situation. Obviously he's got Kelsey. I get that. I'm not going to say the cupboard's completely bare there. And then with Carr, I think Carr, because of the offensive line he's got to work with, which is it's not a good offensive line. I'm sorry. I don't have any other word to use for it now. The Raiders' offensive line is not good at all. I don't like the fact that Waller is like an MIA preseason, basically.
Yeah, that's not a good vibe. No.
So, to me, I look at the team that wins this division, and I look at the quarterback on the team that wins this division. I just don't see that not being a player where he hasn't put up just a sickly impressive season. So I will stick with Herbert because that was the prior pick that I made, and it makes the most sense to me. But I still think AFC West quarterback, whoever wins the division, is going to be a guy that is going to be ballistic this season.
I could see that. Real quick, I wrote at some point this week in one of our preview stories, and I wrote the line, and I wrote that all four quarterbacks could throw for 5,000 yards in this division. I thought, that's ridiculous. And I thought about it, and I'm like, it's not ridiculous. No. Every one of these guys could throw for $5,000
in a 17-game season.
Crazy.
In a 17-game season,
right. Mm-hmm. And it sounds ridiculous, but it's all on the table for every one of them. The AFC West is just endlessly fascinating.